Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle and this is my first wrap-up for Victober. I'm going to tell you about what I read during the first week of Victober. I guess it's technically a week and a little bit because of when October 1st fell. But let's just get right into it. I got off to a really strong start for Victober and I'm really excited about that. I've been making notes about my Victober reading in this lovely journal. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. The first book that I read was The Diary of a Nobody by George and Weedon Grossmith. Now, this book was a present from Kate Howe, and I am so glad that she gave this to me and that she recommended this as a book for me to read because this was so much fun. It was hilarious. She told me that she chose it because she thought that I would find it very funny, and she was totally right. I did. This was written in 1892 and it includes illustrations by, I believe, Weedon Grossmith did the illustrations. Yeah, Weedon. Let me see, I'll find a couple more for you. So they're peppered throughout the book and are really, really entertaining, and they really do add to the story. Okay, so in The Diary of a Nobody, we have Charles Pooter, who is a clerk in a bank in the city, so the city of London. And he has a wife called Carrie and a son who is 20, I think, called Lupin. And they move to a new house and he decides to start a diary, and that's what this book is. It's all diary diary entries, sorry. And honestly, like, just so funny. They're hilarious. I love the illustrations, and it's just about his life. Like, they're doing some renovations in the house, and of course things just don't go to plan. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. It's a short little book, and I think it was a perfect way to kick off Victober. And then I read a historical mystery that is set in the Victorian era, and that is A Fiancee's Guide to First Wives and Murder by Dianne Freeman. This is part of the Countess of Harley series, and it is, I believe, the fourth one. Yes, it's the fourth book in the series, and it came out just this year. And it is set in November of 1899. And I don't want to tell too much because it's going to give away kind of the plot and stuff from the previous books. But let me just say, I really enjoy this series. The Countess of Harley, her name is Frances. She's an American who married a British aristocrat for his title. He married her for her money, and she didn't necessarily want the title, her mother did. But she is now a widow with an 8-year-old daughter, and she lives in London and gets herself caught up in mysteries. And I just really love this series. I find it very entertaining. It's well written, it's got really good characters and really interesting mysteries. And there was a connection in this particular one with the Russian royal family, the Romanovs, and so that was really interesting. And yeah, I just really enjoy this series a lot. And then I read The Legacy of Kane by Wilkie Collins. So this is the fourth Wilkie Collins that I have read. I absolutely adore The Woman in White, and I also really like The Moonstone. Last year for Victober I read the Dead Secret, which was pretty good, but in my ranking of the four, The Dead Secret would be fourth, and the Legacy of Kane I think would be third after The Woman in White would be first, and then the Moonstone, and then this one, and The Dead Secret. I really like Wilkie Collins. He writes sensation novels, and this one was really entertaining. This one was written in 1888, and like The Woman in White and the Moonstone, it has a number of narrators telling the story, writing down their experiences of the events that happened. And so when the book opens, the narrator is the prison governor, and he has a woman under his care who has murdered her husband, and she is being executed. She has been tried and convicted, and she is about to be executed. And we meet a number of people, including a minister for the Methodist Church, Mr. Gracedieu, and he is asked to come by this, by the prisoner. We are never given her name. She's just known as the prisoner or the murderess. And she asks him to adopt her little girl. Her baby is like just over a year old, and the minister and his wife don't have any children, and he agrees to adopt this baby. And then, of course, there is all this discussion amongst the prison governor, the prison doctor, the prison chaplain about inherited evil and whether or not it's a good idea for the minister to adopt this child. They talk about the hereditary transmission of qualities. This is a quote now. I have found vices and diseases descending more frequently to children than virtues and health. And that's, I believe that's the doctor talking to the prison governor. They also talk about inherited evil against inculcated good. They talk about a hereditary taint. Basically, it's a lot of talk about nature versus nurture, which is really interesting. So the minister adopts this little girl, and then in kind of the way that it always happens, his wife gets pregnant and she gives birth to another little girl. And the minister has already moved away. His wife was in a different town when she gave birth. And so then because of circumstances and nobody knowing who he is, once the girls started to grow up or grew up, he told them that they were twins. He gave them the same birthday, January 1st. They celebrated on the same day. They believed themselves to be the same age. And basically he was just protecting the first little girl. He didn't want anyone to ever find out that she was the daughter of a murderess. So kind of that's the setup for the story. And then the next narrators we get are Helena and Eunice. Although I found out as I kept reading, because someone actually asked, the minister, Mr. Gracedieu, pronounces her name Eunice. I don't think I've ever heard it pronounced that way, which is interesting. Anyways, we get them narrating the story through diary entries when they are 18. And Eunice falls in love with a man called Philip. And then Helena also falls in love with the same man. And that's where the conflict of the story comes out. And I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to ruin it for you. It was great. There's another character who comes to stay in the house called Miss Gilgal, who is a funny character. And then we also have another character, Mrs. Tenbruggen, who is a masseuse. And it seems to be kind of a relatively new career or job to have, but they also call her a medical rubber, which I just found very entertaining. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Legacy of Kane. It was a great read. And then I've got a couple of books that I have started, but I'm nowhere near finished. I've started Gothic Tales by Elizabeth Gaskell. I actually listened to 2 of these stories, so this will count for the challenge of having a story read to you or reading a story out loud. I listened to these stories while I was making a jigsaw puzzle, which was really fun. So I listened to Disappearances and The Old Nurse's Story. And I really liked The Old Nurse's Story. That one was great. It was very atmospheric and creepy and ghosty, and everything you want in a Gothic tale. And then I also started The Invention of Murder by Judith Flanders. how the Victorians reveled in death and detection and created modern crime. And I am just barely getting into this. Like, I think I'm about 50 pages into this, but I am enjoying it. I am definitely enjoying it so far. And then I also wanted to show you real quick, Kate Howe made a Victober crossword puzzle, which is turning out to be really fun. I've managed to fill in a good portion of it. I'm not done yet. It's a little tricky in spots, but I'm going to take my time and do that. So this is what I've been reading the first week of Victober. Have you read any of these books? I would love to talk with you about them in the comment section down below. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.